Hi guys, and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be looking at how to arm your troops, your warriors. At the moment I've only got 4 warriors. I should also be saying what to put on the 5th warrior too. For a 4-man squad like mine, I'd recommend 2 tanks, 1 resurrection mage and 1 archer. Again, you can change that to maybe 1 tank, 2 resurrection mages and either an archer or a healer. I'm going to go with 2 tanks, 1 resurrection mage and an archer though. So here we have Trevor. He hasn't got anything on at the moment. He's level 40 and a 5-star dweller. There are 4 types of weapon for a tank. That's what he's going to be. You have daggers, swords, a mace and an axe. The 4 different weapons have 4 different attack speeds, and you can see this by selecting the weapon and then tapping on the DPS number at the top here. You've got the damage there, and the attack speed on this is slow. You have the fastest weapon are daggers. The attack speed here is fast. That's 2 attacks per second, giving you an average damage per second of 1426. The next fastest weapon are swords. Their attack speed is normal, which is 1 attack per second. Next are maces. Their attack speed is slow. And then lastly we have axes. On this axe here, the attack speed is very slow, and because of that it looks like the attack damage is very high, but it's not. It's because it takes such a long time to deal it. So overall DPS is going to be quite low. A favourite weapon of mine is a sword, because all swords have healing. Like this one, when attacking, has a 19% chance of restoring 11% health himself. That's good because it will keep your warrior alive for longer. I'm equipping that. Next onto the armour. A tank's armour always has a great deal of health. That kind of makes them tanky. They also can come with either added damage, or in this case extra armour and extra crit. This one also has a 30% chance of restoring 15% of his own health within over 4 seconds. So with that armour and the sword, he regains quite a lot of health. So the enemy's going to have to deal a lot of damage to him to actually kill him. Next we go on to the ring and amulet. This ring is, again, it's a good one for the tank because it's got damage, crit and dodge, all very handy for a tank and also for an archer. It's also worth mentioning too that there's 2 types of damage in the game. Physical damage, tanks and archers deal only physical damage, and then there's magic damage that only mages will deal. So if you see a ring and it's just got damage, that means physical damage, and you want to put that either on an archer or tank only, not a mage. This will go well with the armour and weapon as well. The efficiency of all healing received by the unit increases by 20%. Lastly, I'll give him this artifact from the last event. So that's this guy. He's got 100,000 eye power now. Okay, on to the next guy. Now for this guy, it's a toss up between giving him a high damage mace or high damage daggers. With a mace, again, like I say, it's got a slow attack speed. With daggers it has a fast attack speed. I'm going to go with the mace because of the extra damage. The good thing with these maces as well, it can stun the enemy for 2.5 seconds. So with me having 2 tanks, if I come across someone with only 1 tank, this weapon can stun him for 2.5 seconds, and in that time my other tank can be dealing a lot of damage to him. And as soon as the tank is down, then they can move on to the mages, and then if they've got an archer, the archer, which are both quite weak. What we need to do is try and get through the tanks. This is quite a good bit of armour too. It's got damage, armour, magic armour, and restores health. Okay, onto rings and amulets. Again, this one's good because it's got extra damage and dodge. Dodge is very handy because it can stop them getting attacked for a second or two. For an amulet on a tank, you want to try and add as much health and armour as possible. The 2 main things you want to look at for all of your warriors really is how much damage they do, and try and maximise the amount of damage they do, and also how much health they have and maximise that. This amulet has spell power. That won't do him any good at all, and would best be equipped by a mage. It does however have slightly better health. Okay, talking of mages, again it's handy as well at the bottom right of the screen. Clicking on the shield, if we select the second one up, the mage one, that will show us all the items that will create a mage. That will just save us going through our backpack. Speed things up. I've got a legendary weapon here that deals splash damage, but I find that having either heal or resurrection is far greater than a mage that deals damage. So I'm going to go for resurrection. I'm going to go for an uncommon green item because it will keep my eye power down, which will give me lower eye powered enemies in the game. Especially with having a green item for a mage on resurrection, for instance, it might not give, when it resurrects an enemy, it might not give them as much health, but the benefit is having lower eye power. Again, mages and archers don't have much health in their equipment, so giving them as much health as you can with their equipment is a good benefit. With mages, you also want to be looking at how much spell power they get, because the more spell power they have, the greater the power of the weapon will be, whether it's healing, resurrecting, or actual damage. Again, we saw this amulet earlier with the spell power, so she can have that. What I do is I put the first ring or amulet I'm looking for, I'll equip it, and then as I'm selecting or going through my other items, I can compare quickly if it's better or not and then move on. I also prefer dodge to crit, because if they're taking damage, it's better that they dodge it and stay alive longer than randomly getting a crit. This here shows you the difference between a rare ring and an epic ring. This rare ring is 10 levels higher, but on both magic damage and dodge it deals a lot less. And because it's 10 levels lower, our eye power has gone down. You want to try and keep your eye power as low as possible, but maximising how much health and damage your troops do. It's no good, you don't want to be chasing and trying to get as much eye power as possible, because that would just put you against tougher enemies. And just because one item has more eye power doesn't make it actually better, as we just saw with those 2 rings. Okay, that's Becky done. Moving on, I'm going to make an archer now. You have 2 weapons for an archer, a crossbow and a standard bow. The standard bow's rate of fire is normal, so that's about one shot every second, whereas a crossbow's attack speed is slow. With a bow, you normally have dealing damage to a group of enemies. This can be really handy if you're facing a lot of enemies, especially in the game's enemies rather than other players. And with a crossbow, you normally have an amount of damage done in a short time. The second benefit to these items is that these are the same on whether it's a bow or crossbow. There are three types. There's dealing extra damage. This is really good. There is stun, if I can find it. Yeah, like this one here has a 22% chance of stunning the enemy for 1.2 seconds. That's good to stun the enemy they're firing at. And the other one is dealing extra crit. Was that this one? This one. I'm not too big a fan on crit because it happens randomly. So you could put a lot of effort into getting crit and you could have a match without getting it. So I'd rather have extra damage or stun. I'm not bothered whether I have a crossbow or a bow, to be honest. I normally roll with a crossbow. I need to start crafting some better gear for my warriors here, to be fair. For now I'm going to look at armour. It's funny how I've got 5 legendary pieces of armour for an archer but no weapons. Again, the same thing, I'll equip the first one and then just run through the list to see which ones are better, and it jumps straight out when it shows you it highlighted in green. Health is better, damage is better, dodge is better. This one also has crit, 35% of reducing the damage done by 70%, 33 increasing dodge. Dodge is quite handy. Okay, moving on to the rings and amulets now. Again, magic damage is no good for an archer because they only deal physical damage. And that's my archer. In the arena store, there's an armor that if your tank gets killed will spawn 2 skeletons. That's a really good piece of armor to have because that will give time for your mage to resurrect your tank back up while the enemy are fighting the 2 skeletons that have spawned. So if you get a chance, if you see that in the arena store and you've got the badges of courage to buy it, I'd recommend buying that. So that's the armor that spawns 2 skeletons upon death. For the archer, there's an armor that will self-resurrect. When they get killed, they'll resurrect themselves. That's also very handy. And for the mage, there's a piece of armor that will poison the enemy when she gets killed. He or she gets killed. When your mage gets killed, the armor will poison the enemy. At low levels, that's quite powerful too. And that is my 4 troops. When I upgrade my barracks and I add another troop, I will probably make that troop a mage and give them a resurrection wand, because they only resurrect once in a while, and it's possible that your tank could get killed, be lying on the floor for a short time before this weapon activates to bring them up. If the enemy in that time kills your second tank, then they're straight onto the mage and getting the mage killed, and then there won't be any resurrections. So having 2 of them gives you a lot better chance of getting the first tank that goes down up. If you are wanting to use a heal wand, you want to use one that heals over 4 seconds. This one here will heal that much health in one go. It sounds good, but you get more health healed over a duration of 4 seconds than you do instantly. That's handy in both the portal and Djembe when there's a time between levels. When they're running from end of one battle and to the start of the next, they can still be healing up, and they'll be healing up for more, like this one here. So if you want to use a heal wand, use one that heals over 4 seconds. There is one more troop I've yet to mention, and that's one called the Assassin, and it's a kind of made up troop by other players. Simply take this guy here for instance, and what we want to do is equip him with daggers. Next you can either equip him with tank armor, one that preferably has damage, like this one here, or archer armor. Although archer armor has a lot less health, it has a heck of a lot more damage, and that's what we're trying to get from this. Nothing special about Rings. Again, as much damage and dodge as possible. He doesn't have as much health as a normal tank, so having dodge will keep him alive. That's not the best ring you can get, but that's what I've got. Sometimes you just have to make do with what you've got. As part of the game is keep playing and finding better stuff and upgrading. But this looks like a mishmash of an archer and a tank, and that's kind of what we're looking for. The thing that makes him an actual assassin now is an artifact from the arena that has backstab. Again, I don't actually have that because I haven't actually been in the arena much in this account. But with backstab, when it's activated, he will teleport behind the enemy and start killing them, and the troops at the back are archers that have quite low health, and after them mages that have quite low health. So while your tanks and mages are fighting forward against the enemy tanks, this guy will teleport behind, hopefully kill the archer or 2 archers, and then when he's done that, move on to the mages and hopefully kill them quite quick. Although he's got low health, he's not necessarily being targeted because he's at the back, because he teleports behind. Because he has a lot of DPS, damage per second, he can kill the enemy quite quick. And that's an assassin. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Please hit the subscribe button for more videos in the future, and leave a comment if you need any help, or if you want to see me make a video about any particular topic in Hustle Castle. Thank you.